They prelude with announcements, yes. So we do have a couple of announcements. One, this is important. If you all, any of you can stay afterwards, after we eat, and help break down and clean up, that would be wonderful. So, be looking forward to that. And Pam, where'd Pam go? She's normally sitting up front here. She signed up to host a circle dinner this Wednesday, and the list has been lost. So now's your opportunity to sign up, or if you've done it already, let her know. Or Nancy know. Nancy's in charge of circle dinners. And next week, I have a class starting point for people who are considering looking at UU membership. And so that'll be next Sunday. And I also wanted to give a special shout out to all the people that put this party together. This looks great, so let's give them a hand. One more, okay.
Our good old Washoe County Commission is going to be certifying the primary voting. And so some of our dear activists are saying, hey, let's please go down there and support the commission while they do this process. There may or may not be agitators, but to show our support, it's on Friday. What time is it? 10 a.m. It's hard to park, so get there early, and you can all go in together and show your love. Thanks.
Okay, we're done with that part? Okay. Well, good morning. I tell you, you all are beautiful out there. And the folks on Zoom, we can't see you, but welcome to you. You know, this is just another normal church Sunday morning. You know, we dress up and celebrate ourselves. First, I'd like to acknowledge that our fellowship sits on ancestral lands of the Paiute, Shoshone, and Washoe peoples, who were the great stewards of this land. Also, if you have a joy or sorrow and you want to share with the fellowship, in the back there are, in my notes I said blue sheets, but I looked earlier, there are white sheets in the back of the sanctuary, and hand those to either Reverend Shelley or myself. Well, my name is Dave Bianchi, and I'm serving as your worship associate this morning, where we're kicking off our stewardship campaign with Mardi Gras theme. Now, some have told me, well, isn't this a Catholic celebration? Well, actually, the early Christians copied many parts of early pagan spring and fertility rites. So it's basically a big party prior to Lent, and Lent is where we have to give up some things, right? So hopefully today, you're willing to maybe give up during this stewardship campaign. Well, we welcome all of you to stay for the service, after the service, for a wonderful brunch where we can continue our conversations and enjoy each other's company. Now, since we're all at tables this morning, it'd be a little awkward to get up and wander around and talk to everybody. So why don't you, instead, we'll take a few minutes to greet one another at our tables only. So no need to get up and wander around, and then I'll ring the singing bowl when it's time to resume our services. So say hello to your neighbors. Hello. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Shelley Thompson. My pronouns are she and her, and I am the interim minister here at UUFNN, the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Northern Nevada. And it is delightful to be with you all today, looking so festive, knowing we've got brunch coming. This is exciting. Some people I've heard are calling this Super Bowl Sunday. I think that might refer to the Olive Garden's Never-Ending Pasta Bowl, but I'm not really sure. But actually, I think there's a rumor that it's something to do with sportsing, right? Sportsing. So they're sportsing at the Super Bowl parties, but what we're doing is supporting our UU congregation today. So for Stewardship Sunday, really, it's all about loving our community and showing our support. And I know most people will think that's not as important as football, but I happen to disagree. I think you all are more important than football. I love you. I'm going to light our chalice this morning with the words of our dearly beloved late Reverend Dr. Hope Johnson. We are one, a diverse group of proudly kindred spirits, here not by coincidence, but because we choose to journey together. We are active and proactive. We care deeply. We live our love as best we can. We are one, working, eating, laughing, playing, singing, storytelling, sharing and rejoicing, getting to know each other, taking risks and opening up, questioning, seeking, searching, trying to understand, struggling, making mistakes, paying attention, asking questions, listening, living our answers, learning to love our neighbors, learning to love ourselves, apologizing and forgiving with humility, and being forgiven through grace, creating the beloved community together. We are one. Please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing, "There is More Love Somewhere."
Good morning. Oh gosh, it's so fun to see everybody dressed up and colorful. My name's Nancy Oakley. I'm president-elect, co-president-elect, and co-chair of the stewardship campaign this year. And we're just so happy to see you all here today. And I really stand here in such gratitude for the strength and unity of our fellowship. And I know that you are the ones that make that happen. And I think, when I fly on an airplane, we hear the stewardess say, "Thank you for choosing us. You could have selected another flight today." And I want to say, thank you for choosing to come here today. You could be home getting ready for your Super Bowl party. You could be whatever. And we're so grateful that you are here today. Thank you so much. And you have chosen to come here to participate, and you've chosen to share your time, your talent, your treasure. And again, we are so grateful for that. And I have to say, my choice to be here really does reflect my values and how I feel about this church. It's not necessarily that UUFNN needs me. I'm just one person, but I need UUFNN, and I need to put my love and my resources, my treasure to UUFNN to keep us vibrant and to keep us moving along. And I am just so grateful for that. And I have to say, we only have advertised our stewardship for about a week, and we have already received 22 pledges totaling $68,550. So that's great. That's a really, really wonderful start. And we're so grateful for that. So here I am just to ask you to, if you can make a continuing pledge, if you want to make just a one-time gift, if you can, a one-time donation, your treasures, your talent, your time. We're grateful for everything because that's what's going to keep us moving forward. And we know that. And today I also want to acknowledge the team who's done so much work. Linda Bowman, she's on Zoom, and the Zoom folks, be sure and hang out after the service to talk about your connection to UUFNN. Linda Bowman, Lois, who thought of the party idea, and we really appreciate that. Lois Bianchi, that's her idea. And Betty Hulse, and Jane Dunn, and Adrian Fisher, and we have lots of folks who are in the library setting up the food. So if you haven't already pledged, we do have forms on the table, and we will have time later on to bring those forth. But thank you so much again for being here. And now I'd like to introduce Michelle Hamilton and Brian Thornton, who are valuable members of our community, to come forth. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. All right, they invited us to come up here today and tell you a little bit about why we're here. And so I'm going to start by telling you a little bit about our journey to Unitarianism. Our first Unitarian church was actually in Vancouver, Washington, many years ago, before we had children. And we were looking for community. We were new to Vancouver, Washington. We were also looking for, I don't want to use the word alternative, but in our minds that really is what it was, an alternative way of expressing spirituality, having been both raised in more traditional religious traditions and being somewhat leery of dogmatic traditions. And so we checked out the church in Vancouver, and we immediately felt at home. It was not what we expected, but it is one of the things that kept us coming back. And when we moved across the river to Portland and we started having a family, we started going to First Unitarian. And it was really hard to get up on Sunday mornings, especially with kids. And I know all the parents in the room will resonate with this. And so I can't say that we were regular attendees, but we definitely considered ourselves to be part of that community. And that difficulty of getting up on Sunday morning, we haven't outgrown it. So for that reason, we are so grateful to the technology team who stepped up during COVID and made Zoom available. And for this community for continuing that option, because that continues to be one of the ways that we participate. And in 2017 is when we first started coming here, and soon afterwards, Karen approached me and said, "Would you be willing to do some slides?" And that was so inside of my wheelhouse. I cannot count the number of slides I've generated over the course of my professional life. And I've worked with nonprofits and small businesses for a very long time now, and I know how hard it is to keep things going and how much we depend on volunteers. And so it was such an easy thing for me to say yes to. And what really keeps me here is the values that are espoused, used to be espoused in our 7 principles, now is in our values, but those values resonate so strongly for me, especially the one about being a part of an integrated web of life, partly because my own spirituality has been grounded for so long in being in the woods and on the water. And it is so wonderful to be in a community that openly embraces that value.
Well, I'll just add that for me, I'm a slow joiner, and it took me quite a while to feel comfortable overall and be more active. But what I find here is people who care and act on that caring. And I find that so supportive and so inspirational to me. I mean, much of my work is outside the church and doing climate work, but I just find this community such a foundation and a support and an inspiration. That's what keeps me here and keeps me active. Thanks.
Now's the time when we center down into ourselves, into our hearts, and think about journeying together through this life, through all of its joys and sorrows, anxieties, concerns, worries, frustrations, things that make life worth living and the things that make life difficult. And because of our arrangement today, we won't be lighting candles, but I have a meditation time for us to hold all in our hearts and minds, those we love, the communities we care about, and the world that is so in need of healing and love and compassion. The words of Marta Valentin: "In gatherings we are stirred like the leaves of the fall season, rustling around sacred trees, tossed hither and yon until we come to rest together, quietly, softly. We come to gather strength from one another. We come to give strength to one another. We come to ask for strength from the spirit of all that is and is not. When our hearts sing and when they frown, it is the way of compassion telling us to give. It is the way of peace telling us to share our gifts. For we are happiest and most powerful when love is made apparent in and through us. Spirit of the circle that is love, as we twirl in this dance that is life, we give thanks for reminding us each day of our task of ministering to each other with a searching glance, a safe touch, a generous smile, a thoughtful word. Thank you for reminding us that we are always building the beloved comunidad. Thank you for reminding us that through our covenant with you, we covenant with each other and are made whole. In gratitude, we celebrate with open hearts and minds. We discover who we are, separate from each other and within one another. in this circle that holds all life, may we ever work toward widening its boundaries until there are none. Amen. Pause. And blessed be, my dear ones. Stewardship. What does that word mean? Stewardship. The careful and responsible management of something entrusted to one's care. That's one definition. Another says stewardship is the responsible overseeing and protection of something considered worth caring for and preserving. These definitions remind us that stewardship is one of our ethical values. It's a spiritual value, a spiritual practice. We are all stewards of this wonderful place, UUFNN. It's part of our covenant of mutual care, respect, and loving kindness. And stewardship, of course, includes more than your generous contributions of financial support that keep the church up and running. And certainly we need that for our operating budget. So when we do a pledge drive like this and we ask you to write down what you think you want to give that will feel really good to you this year as your way of supporting us financially, that lets us create our operating budget for next year. But it's not so much about a budget as it is our mission. How much ministry do we get to do together? How much connection do we get to have? How many wonderful ways can we share our love and our support with our wider community? That's what pledging is about. We're pledging to carry on our mission together, as we have for so long here. And sometimes you do hear people say, well, we have to keep the lights on. And while this is true, my friends, you are the lights. We want to keep you supported and loved and nurtured and turned on and shining out in this world that needs us so much. And we're here to support each other because we know that isn't always easy to do. The richness, the poignancy, the beauty that is life, together we create and recreate abundant community. Beloved community. And so stewardship is something we actually are doing all the time year-round. Every time we decide to get together, everything we do, we're caring for this place and this community that means so much to us. And stewardship is that service, that commitment, that choice, as Nancy mentioned. We're choosing to do this together, this radical experiment called community. The countercultural thing of being in covenant with one another and loving and communicating and supporting and arguing and reconnecting and coming back together again. This is pretty radical stuff. Our world doesn't usually support it. It supports division and arguing and keeping people isolated. So we are a part of a countercultural revolution here. We have faith in one another, and we have hope for the future. I like this quote from Reverend Erin Wathen. She calls herself Irreverend Erin. She says, you can't volunteer at your own church in the same way you can't babysit your own kids. Because the church belongs to you in the same way your family does. It's your own place, your own people. So of course you help take care of it. Of course you do yard work and you make coffee and you teach kids and you sing in the choir. And whatever else it is, you throw parties for stewardship. Whatever else it is you do for the home and the people that you love. You're contributing to something bigger and something that is a part of who you are. End quote. something that is a part of who you are. And this reminds me of Quaker educator Douglas Steere, who said, "The ancient question, 'Who am I?' inevitably leads to a deeper one. Whose am I? Because our identity is deeply tied to our relationships. To ask, whose am I, is to extend the question far beyond the little self and wonder, who needs you? Who loves you? To whom are you accountable? To whom do you answer? And whose life is altered by your choices? With whose life and with whose lives is yours all bound up inextricably in ways that are both obvious and invisible?" I like those questions. Together as a faith community, we're living the answer to those questions. We don't like to provide a lot of answers in Unitarian Universalism, but this one we can answer. Whose are you? You are mine, I am yours. We're in this together. Who needs you here? We all need you here. We need each other. We love you. Who loves you here? We all do. We all love you. To whom are we accountable? Well, we're in covenant. We hold each other accountable. When something gets off track or a mistake is made or there's any kind of conflict going on, we resort to that covenant that says our relationship is more important than being right. And we're accountable to our mission. We know that what we do here serves a larger purpose. We pay a lot of attention to that. We care deeply about that mission. We answer to each other, to our covenants and to our faith. With whose life is altered by your choices? With whose life and lives is your own all bound up? Well, of course, we are all a part of the human community of communities and the interconnected web of all existence. Our congregation, our Reno community, our country, our world. And to know and think about and reflect on these answers to these kinds of questions, whose are you, is to seek what it means to belong. We belong here, we belong to each other. And this self-sustaining faith community belongs to us just as much as we belong to it. We entrust it to one another's care because we know firsthand how much it is worth caring for and preserving. So while we think of it as our own, it's also true that it actually belongs to the mission that we hope will carry on for another 65 years beyond all of us. So in fact, the church doesn't belong to us so much as we belong to it in that way, for we're serving the future as well. It's popular for us to say that we like to give time and talent and treasure, and all of that is true. And there's another way to describe this that I learned at my first Unitarian Universalist church in Des Moines, Iowa. They call it the 4 Ps of membership, and I like them. The first one is presence. Showing up is an act of stewardship. It's saying this community matters here. I'm going to get up early on my Sunday morning and I'm going to be with my people because I'm needed and loved here. I love them. They love me. Showing up, being present, one of the ways that we show we care and we make this place worth caring about by being together. The second P is for participation. We know that if we don't participate in anything, we're missing out, because by participating, that's how we make friends. That's how we get to know people. That's how we can share of ourselves and be seen and heard and valued in authentic relationships that challenge us and support us and nurture us. We participate together, and look what happens Look at the people who made this party happen by participating in it together. And now all of you are making the really good stuff happen by being the party goers and celebrating and eating brunch together. That's about doing what you love, joining in. Light your light, sing in the choir, be in a small group sharing circle where you can really dig in and be reflective and spiritual together. Help out with the climate justice folks. We have so many dedicated people working on climate action. Participate in posse. Make a spaghetti dinner. Feed someone who doesn't have dinner. Join our Faith in Action team doing community activism to make the world a better place for everyone, and specifically right here in our own backyard. So many ways to participate. And pledging is the other P. Give what feels good, that you feel good about it. We don't want it to hurt or be a sacrifice or a burden to you. We want it to feel nurturing and supportive to you, that you feel great about the fact that you're able to help this place continue. This place that you get a lot out of it and you give a lot back, and that keeps us going. So pledging is that promise to yourself that you're going to maintain your commitment here because you know how valuable it is. And it's that promise to us that you're going to stick around and continue to help us in that way, and by participating and being present. So once we have that operating budget, we can carry on the business of the mission. We don't have to worry about it for another year. And it's time to marvel at all of the amazing ministry we do together. We want to keep it going and going forward. And the last P is for paying it forward. Joining a team or a committee, being a part of leadership, learning how to do stewardship and be on the stewardship team. Look how much fun it is to be on stewardship. And the generous folks here are more than happy to invite newcomers onto these teams and committees and show you the ropes and help you find your way of giving your own special brand of service to it. And it's made better and different and wonderful with your contributions, different than it would have been if you hadn't said yes. And there are ways both small and large to contribute. We know this. Making the coffee, bringing some donuts, cleaning up after an event. Today, we're going to need a little bit of help taking down the tables. And we know some of you feel comfortable doing that your bodies allow that for you and you'll contribute. We have faith in that. We know you'll help us. And then you can develop your leadership skills. You can think about, where are you called to serve? What of these ministries really pulls at your heartstrings? What is really speaking to you about this work? And how do you want to give to it? What is your imagination calling you to do? We are focused on imagination today. We're trying to figure out this future of parish ministry that everybody everywhere is struggling with right now. Most major religions are in decline, churches are closing. People aren't quite sure how to do this anymore because the ways we used to do it, well, the world has changed. Life has changed, and we have to figure out new ways. After all this time of the same thing working, certain things just don't work anymore. And so we have to use our imagination because we know what we're doing is of value. How can we do it differently so that we can carry on without burning people out, in a way that works with people's busy lives and schedules, in a way that lets people participate more than they spend time planning to participate? Less planning, more participation is something that Adrienne Marie Brown says. I like that quote. I've used it before. So imagining how we're going to carry on this ministry together. What's it going to look like? What are we going to do that's new? And how are we going to carry on with what we know is right and good about this place? We need all of us to imagine that together, to talk about it, to think about it. And we don't have to have any answers. Nobody has any real answers right now. But we're smart, creative, capable people. And even if the answer is, well, we're just going to keep getting together until we figure it out, and in the meantime, we're going to enjoy being a community. Possibilities are really endless. So, in that spirit, our choir is going to sing for us today, What a Wonderful World. And some of you may know that that was one song made popular by Louis Armstrong. And he was a black performer at a time when it was really difficult to be black in this country. And it's still difficult to be black in this country. But people would come up to him and say, how can you sing this song? Wonderful world. Pfft. You can't even use the front door to get in the club to sing it. How is it wonderful? And he said, it's not so much that it's wonderful as it is. It's wonderful what we can together make it become. What's wonderful is our potential to make it the way we know it ought to be. And that is what this song is about. Enjoy.
I see trees of green, red
Thank you, Rosie, and the choir. That's absolutely one of my favorite songs. Fits my philosophy of life. I have a reading from the Reverend John Wolfe. There's only one reason for joining a Unitarian Universalist church, and that is to support it. You want to support it because it stands against superstition and fear, because this church points to what is noblest and best in human life, because it is open to all people, whatever race, creed, color, place of origin, or sexual orientation. You want to support a Unitarian Universalist church because it has a free pulpit, because you can hear ideas expressed there which would cost any other minister their job. You want to support it because it's a place where children come without being saddled with guilt or terrified of some celestial peeping Tom, where they can learn that religion is joy, for comfort, for gratitude, and love. You want to support it because it's a place where walls between people are torn down rather than built up, because it's a place for the religious displaced persons of our time, the refugees from mixed marriages, the unwanted free thinkers, and those who insist against orthodoxy that they must work out their own beliefs. You want to support a UU church because it is more concerned with human beings than the dogmas, because it searches for the holy rather than the dwelling upon the depraved, because it calls no one a sinner, yet knows how deep is the struggle in each person's breast and how great is the hunger for what is good. You want to support a UU church because it can laugh, because it stands for something in a day when religion is still more concerned with platitudes than with prejudice and war. You want to support it not because it buys you some insurance policy towards your funeral service, but because it insults neither your intelligence nor your conscience, and because it calls you to worship what is truly worthy of your sacrifice. There's only one reason for joining the Unitarian Universalist Church, and that is to support it.
And now we're going to have our ritual of pledging, celebrating our gifts and our giving. We have longtime member Betty Hulse and our incumbent president, Nancy Oakley, who are going to come up and welcome you, all of you who brought a pledge card today, or who are letting us know that you've already pledged, because so many of you have. And we have lifesavers for everybody, because you're all lifesavers. We save lives in Unitarian Universalism. We absolutely save lives. And you get lifesavers for being contributors and supporters of this wonderful place. So they're going to come on up and very gratefully receive your pledges. Do we want to do this by table or just have everybody lined up over here? What do we think? Line up? Just come on up? Popcorn style. Anyone who feels like coming forward, come on up and get your, everybody's welcome to come get a hug and a lifesaver. pledging. There's plenty more lifesavers up here, so we want to share those. For all the 4 Ps, the participation and presence that you're all giving us right now, all of your gifts. There's pledge forms on the table. If you couldn't find one or don't have one, they are available. And we can also help you pledge online if you need help with that. It's easy to do, and we can help you with the computer if you want to do it that way.
Are we going to do a collection, or you want us to pass around?
We are.
The seats at the table? Okay.
We will. Fabulous. This is so fabulous. I'm feeling the love. I can see how much you love this place. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, and thank you, and thank you. And of course, there's plenty more opportunities to turn in your pledge forms in paper or online in the 3 weeks to come. We're hoping to be wrapped up by March 3rd so that we can start the delightful process, actually. I love budgeting because it means we can talk about all the good stuff we're going to do in the coming year. So keep your pledges coming. If you hadn't had a chance yet, or you have any questions, or you need any help with that, feel free to talk to us. And again, thank you all for your presence, your participation, your pledging, and your paying it forward. I love you.
Well, we're going to just keep talking about giving money. But I'd like to first thank everyone for sharing their stories this morning. Now, in addition to, or maybe we can just say in conjunction with our pledges each week, we pass the basket here in the fellowship to share our bounties. So those on Zoom can text as outlined on the slide. I think the slide will show up. Now, one of the things that I love about this fellowship is that each month we choose a nonprofit to share with, and this month it's called Opportunity Alliance Nevada. What is that, you might ask? Well, here to give us a brief overview is Lori Martin. Lori, come on up.
Thank you. I'm bringing my phone in case I'm going to look at a few notes. I so feel like I'm in the right place at the right time, bringing tears to my eyes. Thank you, Reverend Shelley, for everything that you've shared this morning. And it's so aligned with our work with Opportunity Alliance Nevada. So I'm Lori. I know some of you in the room. I'd like to thank Jane and Lily for orchestrating my visit here today. I'm the Bridges to a Thriving Nevada director. And in Opportunity Alliance, we are all about helping low to moderate income Nevadans stay housed, have sustainable lives, and be able to, quote, get ahead in a just getting by world. That's one of the programs that we offer. Our main focus, we call our main project Empower NV. We are about resilience and empowerment to help people have sustainable lives across Nevada. So I'm here in Washoe County. Our executive director's down in Las Vegas, probably getting ready for the Super Bowl right now. And so we cover main urban areas, and we go out into the what we call the rurals and the frontier. And we serve folks of diverse backgrounds, and I'm so impressed with how welcoming you are here and how you support the diverse members of our community. We believe in what we call DEI and B, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. We say that our work is about relationship, relationship, relationship. Our most significant project that we just completed is with the Reno Housing Authority, working with folks in subsidized housing. We did a Bridges Out of Poverty training for their entire staff. And then we had a Getting Ahead and a Just Getting By World workshop for 12 of their residents. 10 of them graduated. Among those, now, one member of our graduates is on the board of directors at RHA now. Another one is completing her education in English as a second language. And so the folks who are getting ahead when they go through this program truly take the initiative themselves with their internal and external resources to be able to have better lives and ideally get out of subsidized housing and be able to live independently. We're having, as part of our Staying Ahead Alliance, which the graduates, once they complete this program, we have community allies, and I'd love to talk to you about volunteer opportunities to become an ally. And for example, this next Staying Ahead Alliance that we're having on Tuesday is about housing and home ownership and becoming banked and saving money. And so we are really about financial resiliency and empowerment, which is an important part of our well-being. So the ways you can support us, and I appreciate being here today and having you share the plate, pass the plate, for Opportunity Alliance Nevada is donations, which we appreciate. For every $2,000 raised, we can bring one person into our Getting Ahead in a Just Getting By World workshop and have 2 seats for our Bridges Out of Poverty trainings that we offer. Also, we look to organizations to collaborate. Perhaps there's ways we can collaborate. That's one of our C's is collaboration. And also to volunteer. We have volunteer financial navigators. I have flyers and business cards here. But folks who need to manage their money can come into our helpline, free help, to work with a volunteer financial navigator. We don't call them budgets because for people that's kind of like a diet. We say it's a savings and spending plan. So our volunteer financial navigators can help people really be able to manage their money in a way that will help them get ahead. And so we have many opportunities through Opportunity Alliance Nevada. So thank you all. I have copies of our 2 primary programs, books, Bridges to a Thriving Nevada, Bridges Out of Poverty. And for every person we keep staying housed saves our communities hundreds of thousands of dollars. Those of you who are doing work on the streets, we know how many folks need services, and those services are costing our communities money. We want to help people stay housed, be able to get ahead, be able to return to our communities and serve and volunteer as well. So I think that's about it. Thank you so much. I'd love to stay and break bread with you, and I have more information to share, and would love to talk to you particularly about our alliance, and there may be folks here who would be willing to work with us. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And I can tell you, Lois and I have had some peripheral involvement, along with some other UUs, where we've gone down to the First Methodist and cooked dinner for some of the Bridges Out of Poverty folks. So we know all about it. It's a great program. So will the ushers please come forward and meander around the tables.
Goes with this. This is an opportune moment. I neglected to mention in our announcements that tomorrow night, Monday, there's a candlelight vigil being held for all of Reno's shelterless people who died in 2023. Sadly, that number is over 135 people. So this program that supports people staying in their homes really does make a huge impact. So that candlelight vigil will be tomorrow night at 5:30 p.m. at the Believe sign to highlight the continuing problem and remember those who have died without an address. And you're invited to join that group of folks to pray and pay our respects and remember all those who have left us. Thank you.
Would you join David and me as we bless our offerings to the work of this fellowship, which is helping more people grow in love, faith, justice, and joy? We dedicate ourselves, and these are offerings.
I'm going to extinguish our chalice this morning with the words of Reverend Kendall Gibbons. Out of a community of diverse heritage and belief, we come together to share our hope and create good in the world. The prophets of all traditions and times have taught that we're called to mercy, generosity, and mutual care, and that to be great is to serve. We know that there can be no enduring happiness for humanity so long as suffering and want go unrelieved. Until we may all be sheltered, none of us is truly home. May the power of our various faiths sustain us in this work, that we may be the hands of holy creativity and justice, and together build a better world. As we share this wonderful brunch together this morning, do take some time to talk to your table mates and others in the room about the purpose of UUFNN. What does it mean to you? Why are we here? What is the wonderful good that you see us doing together? Do yourself a favor and have that conversation. Nancy's going to call us together for our brunch, and then we will sing while we begin the process of feasting.
And I forgot to thank one very important person, Brad Acton, who was the one who pointed us to some of the beautiful music and gave us some ideas about our. Thank you, Brad. And what we're going to do is call by table number so we don't everybody crowd. And anyway, this is the part we've been waiting for, right? So how about tables like 1, 2, and 3? You can go on either side of the food tables and then come back.
Dave Waring.